What's up, everybody? Happy Friday. So excited to be here today with another amazing guest. First Friday of every month, I bring on somebody to talk about an amazing topic, whether it's in branding or marketing, social media, life, career. And today's just like any other amazing Friday. I brought on a guest with Katie Brinkley. I have a great pleasure of meeting her through Clubhouse.
Now that's old school right there. You might as well said MySpace.
I know. Literally. Remember that thing, Clubhouse? I know.
When we all willingly sat on never-ending conference calls. Yeah.
Yeah. And she's one of the people that I've continued to really stay in touch with and support each other. And she's just really awesome, super knowledgeable. And so today we're going to dive into social media. We're going to talk about content. We're going to do all the things. Please say hello. Let us know where you are listening or watching from. We'll be in the comments and saying what's up and answering questions. So please give us a hello wherever you are in the world. Really appreciative that you're here to talk with me, Rachel B. Lee, and Katie. So without further ado, Katie, let's first start with who the heck are you? What was your journey before, you started your company? Because you were, we did different things. Talk a little bit about you and your journey to where you are today.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, and like you said, we go all the way back to Clubhouse, and man, it seems like it was so long ago, but I'm so glad that you and I have stayed in touch and, talk regularly. And you're such an amazing person, Rachel. So I've met so many great people through Clubhouse. So I am so thankful for that time of meeting amazing people like you. But my name is Katie Brinkley. I'm a social media strategist, and I have a social media agency based out of Denver, Colorado. We've been in business for about 7 years now. And I started my social media journey back in 20 years ago with MySpace. And it's not that I just had a MySpace account. I actually worked for the college radio station, and one of my jobs there was to get bands to send us their music for free. And we were writing handwritten letters and sending them off in the mail. And I was like, there has to be a more efficient way to get music into the station.
Yeah.
MySpace is huge for musicians and artists. I wonder if I just start reaching out to different artists if they'll send me their music. And so I started getting all this music into the station. I started having live interviews with different bands. I was doing giveaways with merch. And the station manager was like, Katie, how are you getting all this stuff for our station? I was like, MySpace. And so it quickly taught me what an incredible tool social media can be when you go in with a strategy and with an objective in mind. So I helped a lot of these different bands like Yellow Card and Fall Out Boy.
Yellow Card, Fall Out Boy. 20
I know, I was really into punk. I'm like, maybe I'm dating myself a little bit, but
it's a nice return. Back.
And I mean, like it was amazing. I got, I was a college kid at the time, and I got free tickets to their shows, all by connecting them with other stations and sending their music off and getting them more airtime, which is what they wanted. And at the time, though, being a social media anything didn't exist. So I graduated, landed my dream job. I was the sports reporter for the Denver Broncos, Colorado Rockies, and the Avalanche here in Denver at 850 KOA. And super long story short, I did that. It was my dream job. I loved it. I wish I would have stuck with it. This thing called Sirius XM came out, and everyone in the radio industry panicked and thought that was the end of radio. And so I moved into marketing. I left radio, and I mean, obviously radio is still around. I probably should have stuck with it a little bit longer, but I wouldn't have my job now. And I think that everything that I've done up until having my agency has really kind of prepared me for how can you go in effectively with a strategy to have the most bang for your buck, because not all of us want to be social media celebrities. The majority of us want to use social media as a tool to grow our business. How can you do it effectively and efficiently and strategically?
So that's what your company is all about.
Yeah. So we offer done for you social media services, and then I also offer coaching and consulting.
Awesome. Which there's like so many questions I have about doing sports radio. I'm like,
We
but
can totally talk about sports radio. I mean, I was the locker room reporter. What do you want to know?
but it's just as you were saying that, it's funny, right? Because you Sirius came out and I was like, oh shoot, radio's going, right?
Mhm.
And we feel that all the time, that some wave is happening. And social media right now is kind of, I mean, it's always in that stage, but we were just referring to Twitter, X, like what the heck is that about? Or do we jump ship or not? Clubhouse, we open with,
Yeah.
thought you had to be there, do everything, pretty much.
Threads.
Threads, which was like, I can't get on, it was like, and look, and everybody's talking about AI, although AI has been around. So I think we could comfortably say, think about AI.
Yeah. Yeah. That one, I think that, 2023 was this year was when AI really became more mainstream because there was a lot of tools out there before AI tools. And I was always kind of poo-pooing on them. I'm like, ew, I don't want to do that and have a computer write for me. Gross. But now all of us are using AI in some regard, whether it's for videos, for chat GPT, it's for, editing, like the script helps you edit your podcast. I mean, there's so many different tools out there that are helping us become more efficient again, so we can be more effective with our businesses.
Yeah. Something we've always really connected on, and I appreciate with your approach to social media, I think it's super aligned with Stand Out Authorities, is really being human centered, and also being really smart and strategic
Yeah.
with our time and effort. like nobody wants to feel content fatigue. Everyone wants, like you said, not everyone wants to be a superstar. Most people don't. They're using it as a tool to market, to draw awareness and get people into their funnels. The reality is get the right people into their funnels. So I'd love for you to talk a little bit about your approach to content. I know you have some ways to sort of simplify creating social media content. So I know that everyone struggles with this. Give it to us. What is sort of your methodology, Katie, with your company to make the content process on social media a lot easier?
And I think that, like you said, we are in alignment on this because not all of us want to be, super well. We don't all want to be Jake and Logan Paul, or I mean, not all of us want to have just a ton of followers. I don't know about you, but my business is in social media, but that doesn't mean I'm an influencer.
Yeah.
And that's very, very different ways of creating content, how often you should show up with your content. And what my strategy is, how you can show up is four times a week. Or, I mean, I use the same strategy way back in March. I was going through kind of a tough time and I had a really hard time creating any sort of content. So I created 4 posts for the whole month. I still did the strategy. And March was one of my best months ever for my business. I had more leads coming in. I know. And I don't like telling that, but yes, I know it was 4 posts
One
total.
post a week.
1 post a week. Yeah.
On which platforms?
So it was on LinkedIn, 4 posts a week. And then I did very similar but different posts on Facebook. And I only did 2 posts on Instagram. And we were talking
And
total.
total. So the 4 posts. Wow. Okay. So you're talking.
Like I said, I'm not saying to do this all the time. I think it's 4 a week is good, but if you do the strategy, it'll work.
Yeah. So you brought down the post of you weren't doing it every single day. You picked. You're on Instagram, LinkedIn, and you did Facebook. It sounds like.
Yeah.
Okay.
And with this, I think that keep in mind, I do social media for businesses, but for my business, I've only been using LinkedIn and Instagram. It wasn't until this year that I incorporated Facebook because I didn't have the capacity.
Yeah.
All of these platforms and Rachel, you and I have had this conversation before, just about how you create content on every platform. And there is no copy and paste. Can you click the little toggle button on Instagram to make it so your Instagram posts go to Facebook? Oh my gosh, am I still here? I lost you.
You're here with me.
Okay, my computer just turned off. Sorry. So can you do the little toggle saying that you are posting your post from Instagram to Facebook? Yeah, but it's not going to work the best way. The way that the platform is, the algorithm is built, and they want you to create content.
Yeah.
All of these platforms have different ways of creating content. LinkedIn, you have the PDF, like carousels, you have LinkedIn lives, you have LinkedIn audio rooms. I mean, there's all these different ways of creating content, and it's different for every platform. How can you show up and get the most bang for your buck the way that the platforms want you to create content, so that you're still checking the boxes of like, okay, I've created this type of content and your audience is resonating with it as well. Does that all make sense? Because I mean, we've talked about this before with Instagram, because it's tricky. Instagram's a tricky one.
Okay, let's talk about Instagram, because I have a love-hate relationship. I to your point of like, I only have so much capacity, period. And that's something we both, again, align on, where I say the same thing to our clients and the same thing to people. If you don't have the capacity to do a good job on every platform, then go where you
don't do it.
Then don't do it. Like, and Instagram's a place, like, try to like keep up. But to me, it feels like the algorithm has been all over the place. So what right now, as of like mid 2023, have you been finding to be an effective strategy for you, for your clients?
So with the 4-post strategy, it's the awareness to action strategy. And again, think about what platforms you have the capacity to create content for.
Yeah.
Again, I just started doing Facebook this year because I didn't have the capacity. I was just sharing family photos over on Facebook and it wasn't until this year that I started using it for business. And so the first post is the awareness post. On each platform, there's a different way to get maximum reach. On Instagram, it's reels. And using a reel is going to help you get the most eyeball. Think of it. Okay, so we've all seen Forrest Gump. And think of yourself as hopefully we've all seen Forrest Gump. And think of yourself as Forrest on the Jenny, throwing off your net to catch all those shrimp. You want to get a full thing of shrimp in. We might get a boot. We could get some lobster, maybe a couple crawdads. Who knows what we're going to get? But we want to just get as much as we possibly can. That's our awareness post. On Instagram, it's a reel. On LinkedIn, I do the LinkedIn polls. So that's my awareness type of post, to try and just get as many eyeballs on my content as possible. Feel free to say if you think there's a better one. And then on Facebook, I wish there was a better title for it, but it's the Facebook posts with text with a colored background. Those are the ones that get the most reach.
Like template.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's typically like a sentence or two, and like you can change the background of it. I researched it and I was like, this is the official name for it. Text with a colored background. But
yeah. And they have that actually on LinkedIn too, but nobody really uses it as much.
No. But I mean, like, so with these awareness posts, you're trying to just get as many eyeballs on your content as possible.
Right.
And so after you've done, so like on Instagram, if you do a reel, let's say I just do a reel and it's like me going, 3 of my favorite tools that I use for my social media every single week. And then I say like Loomly, Capsho, Flick, or whatever. And then that's it. People will see it, they can comment on it, whatever. But now that I've got those people in, the second post is going to be that tip or that tutorial post, or on LinkedIn, maybe a LinkedIn article on it, or you could do the sliders. But this is where now that those people have come into your sphere because you threw your net out there, now the new people that are in, you're educating them further on one of the things you talked about. So I could say, like, if it was a carousel post on Instagram, it'll be like, how Loomly saves me 6 hours a week with my social media. And then you swipe, it's like Loomly is a social media scheduler, that blah, 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 and each thing I'm educating people. So I've already kind of brought some new people in, given them that high level overview of what, I do. Now I'm showing them that I'm the expert and I'm educating them more, teaching them something that they might not have known or talking about a tool that they might not have known about. And then I go into the community building post. And this is where when maybe it's just a single image of me, or maybe it's me and one of my daughters or anything. And it's that storytelling post. This is why you can trust me. This is how I've tried a lot of social media schedulers, and it wasn't until I've found this one that it saved me 6 hours time so I could have more time back with my daughter. I'm now her softball coach, and I can go into an entire story about what it's like being a mompreneur. Now I've connected with my audience of parents and moms that want more time back with their kids. And they're like, well, yeah, she's used this tool. She's gotten her time back. I really trust her.
Yeah.
And then the action post, this is asking people to leave social media to go one step further with you. Maybe it's to click the affiliate link for Loomly that I have in my profile. Maybe it's to listen to a podcast episode where I talk all about the benefits of social media schedulers, whatever. The action post comes at the end, asking people to take action, to go one step further with you. And you've been leading up to it all week through a variety of giving each platform the way that they want you to produce content and the way that everyone else of your followers consumes content.
I love that. I'm curious. So do you kind of keep that sequential strategy as like the weekly, you do that every week?
Yep.
Okay, interesting.
So yeah, I mean, like if you
and that's all organic, right? Just so everyone understands.
I don't do any paid. I mean, obviously if you have something that kind of takes off and it's doing well and getting a lot of organic reach, then sure, go ahead and put some money behind it. But everything that I do is organic. And I mean, and like I said, I did this just for the month of March. I took people through this once a week because I couldn't do the capacity for it. But I mean, like, it's one of the things where if you're constantly showing up and asking people to leave the platform, they're not going to. And these platforms aren't going to want to push your posts out there because they're like, oh, every time they see this post, they always leave. Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, they want you to stay on their platform for as long as possible.
Yes. 100%. First of all, love that. It's very, what I would consider to be smart marketing, right? Like you're pulling people through. Surprisingly, a lot of social media experts actually don't know marketing and funnel. You don't know that you raise awareness before somebody buys. Anyways, so
I mean, like, but Rachel, it's true. Like, there's a lot of people out there that are social media marketers, and it's one thing to post on social media, and another thing to create content for leads and sales.
Correct. And we're both in business. Yes, we want to share authenticity, share our voice, and serve people. I mean, the ultimate purpose is to serve people, make an impact, and we're looking for some sort of key result. That's just like how we do business. So I really love that framework, and it's interesting because we don't do some. I'm gonna try this.
Try it. Yeah. Let me know what you think.
Because for my own personal content, I do all of the things you're talking about, but I haven't done it in this sort of sequential way, organically, 1 week on LinkedIn going through that. So every post is a different story leading up into the next part of that phase. So I'm learning too, y'all. I love that. And all the pieces, Kay, that you're talking about though, is how do you drive the intrigue? How do you give and educate, right? That knowledge, that advice. How do you create a story so people connect with you deeper so that they want to actually click and sign up? I mean, those are tenets.
Yeah.
Doing great content and great marketing. So that's awesome, Katie.
Well, and I think that too, with this, we're constantly, especially over on the gram, we're constantly hearing, oh, well, you just haven't been posting enough. That's why you're not getting the sales. That's why you're not getting the, that's why you're failing. But really, you're, you don't need to post so much. When you have this, you just need to know, okay, this is what I'm talking about, this one topic, this week. And I mean, like I said, the example of the reel, the 3 tools I use every week for social media. The next week, I could do another post about like now Cap Show. And then the following week, I could do one all about Flick. That's 3 weeks worth of content based off of one, maybe 15-second video.
Yeah. Well, and to your point, like it's all about rinsing and repeating. Like the name of the game. And even with, I've just continued to learn this in our business. And as I've put myself out there more and more, that you have to know your pillars, know what you're going to talk about, what's your expertise, know that what should be super clear and super ownable to you, and over and over and over and over again, and little pull this tip. But it's like, I feel like people are constantly trying to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah. And well, I mean, like, it's so true. Constantly trying to reinvent the wheel. And like, so I have a podcast and, the video cast here. Like, you could take what we talk about with this and turn this into at least 4 pieces of content in addition to this. Because, I mean, as much as we'd like to think that everybody sees and remembers all of our posts, the algorithm isn't helping us that much. And 2 people have lives. I mean, people might be in Mexico for a week and not be on their phones or whatever. You never know.
Well, and I mean, how many posts do you read the whole post?
So I think I'm a minority because I'm not, and Rachel, I'm not a video person. Like doing reels, doing lives like this, it makes me really nervous.
But you do it.
I do it. But I mean, my feed on Instagram looks very different than maybe your feed. Like, so I have the pleasure of seeing a lot of different feeds because of the agency. You might do a carousel post and it'll show it to me, even though it was made 5 days ago. Whereas you might do a reel like right after we're done with this, and I might never see it because most of the time when I'm on Instagram or on social media, I'm watching some sort of cartoon with my kids and I don't have the sound on. So I scroll right past those videos. But give me a good carousel post with a long caption and I'm all in, So you have to keep that in mind, that everyone has a different way of how they best consume content.
It's so true. That's such a good point. I always talk about like sort of multi-sensory experience, and how often, people just kind of forget that most likely they didn't read the whole post.
Mm-hmm.
So if you wrote 200 words with our own team, we write great copy, but if our graphic or the carousel sucks, nobody's going to read this great copy.
Yep.
So we're constantly as a team trying to get our copy more and more succinct, getting help from AI to simplify, bring in the brand voice, and make sure that the graphic and carousels and videos like that can help kind of bring both of the pieces together, because people aren't just reading. Sometimes they're listening. To your point, like you're never having sound on. You just don't know. So
well, and I think that too, with like, for me, once you're so good at this, Rachel. I don't even know why I'm saying this to you, but I mean, like, once you know who you're talking to, it makes writing the copy so much easier, because like for the community building post, I'll be like, as an entrepreneur, I remember when I was starting my small business, I'm using the words that my ideal client and customer are like, hey, wait a second, I own a small business. She's talking to me. Wait, what did she say? So you can have those keyword bullet points in your copy. So when people are skimming, because let's be real, majority of people, minus yours truly, are skimming the post. And if the right word that pops out to them says, wait, that's me. She's talking to me. Hold on. Let me back up and read the whole thing.
Yes. And just to that point too, the SEO value, right? Because we know on a platform like LinkedIn, every post and newsletter, your profile, all of those words, everything is getting indexed. So it's not that we're saying don't focus on copy, because the copy does matter from an SEO perspective.
Yeah, don't just fill it full of a bunch of like spammy, like small business, small business, small business. Yeah, like, but again,
and ChatGPT, let me tell you, like, we seriously, you could see why Katie and I could talk forever. Sometimes it drives me nuts with the AI. So here, let's do a quick like tale on AI and how you're using it with social media, because that piece can be, maybe my writing problems aren't as good as some of my teams. They're amazing at it. But I'm like, this is so spammy, right? This is so salesy, right? Some of that.
Calling all entrepreneurs. Hello, fellow entrepreneur. With the megaphone.
Like, oh my God, I can't. Like, so tell me, like, how have you been using it? How are you bringing in, so you're, you know, making your business more efficient, but not calling all entrepreneurs stuff?
Yeah. Well, I think that too, like, so I've set up the voice and the tone and the, like, so I built out an entire brand marketing kit in like ChatGPT for each client and for myself. So it knows the tone, it knows the style, it knows everything. And so when I start a new command, I'll say, act as an expert marketer with a background in audio, and has a podcast that's been running for over 3 years. Use the tone and style of this. Make sure it is friendly. That, you know, I'll give it that command, and then I'll say, well, help me write 10 questions that realtors are struggling with Instagram right now, and it'll put it in my tone. It knows my background. It knows, because it took about 2 hours to build out the tone and the style for each one of these brand personas. But now that it knows it, it writes everything very, very easily. And nothing is copy and pasteable in ChatGPT. Not one thing. But if you can go in there and you give it all these commands and continue educating it and giving it, okay, well, now that I'd like you to elaborate on this blog post that you wrote for me previously, please, you know, so I just kind of elaborating on what I mean, that's how I've been using it, but building out the brand personas, the tone, the style, and like the personality of the robot of the AI for each client has made it very, very seamless for getting it off and running.
I'm so glad that you're making that point, because the content is only as good as the human that teaches what to create. And what you're talking about is brand, which I'm like so glad that brand is getting its moment and will continue to with AI.
Well, I mean, and think about it, Rachel, like it should be I wish I would have thought of this, but the great Anne Hanley did. The robot on your shoulder. AI is the robot on your shoulder helping talk for you, but it doesn't sound quite right.
Yeah.
You know, you're the human at the keyboard. Use the robot on your shoulder to help you.
Yes. Yes. And figure out what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
You know, like I feel like the personal branding side or company branding, if you're doing it for a company, you can't bypass that anymore if you're going to use AI tools. Okay, Katie, this has been such a fruitful conversation on social media. There's so many things you can continue to teach us. As we close out today, if you had one tip, one social media tip that you think would just really support people, what would you give them?
Don't be on every single social media platform known to mankind. You can be on 1 or 2 platforms and still see a lot of success, a lot of business, and you're going to be less overwhelmed. You're going to have more time back. If you go in with a strategy and just say, okay, LinkedIn is my spot. This is where I'm going all in on. I'm going to use all the different ways LinkedIn wants me to post and create content. You're going to get leads coming in. And as capacity allows, then you can start adding in other social platforms.
Yes. Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. Preach. I love it so much. Okay, and Katie, you have a podcast.
You've been on it.
Like, what are all the ways people can keep up with you and follow you?
Yeah, so you should listen to the episode that Rachel joined me on of Rocky Mountain Marketing. That is my podcast, and I produce 2 episodes a week. So would love to have you check out the podcast. And if you want to connect with me online, you can do that at katiebrinkley.com/waitlist. And that is all the different ways to connect and learn more about what I'm up to.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, if you enjoyed this conversation, you have any questions, write it in the comments. We'll be checking those. And Katie, just thank you. Thank you so much for giving your knowledge and just being such a great supporter of me and Stand Out Authority. We really appreciate you.
You're awesome. And thank you so much for having me. So appreciate you and love calling you friend.
With that, another Work Your Brand, LinkedIn Live. Well, actually, this is going out to a few different platforms, wherever you're watching. Thanks for hanging out with us today, and I'll see you soon.